Hi, I am Rosanna Corona, and today I'll be discussing the parent's role in the IEP process. The Individualized Education Program, also called the IEP, is a document that is developed for each public school child who needs special education. This will examine the special roles of parents of children with disabilities in planning for the education of their children, and I'll discuss how educators can work effectively with parents to create meaningful, individualized education programs. Remember that your role in the IEP process is impactful. If you feel that your child needs extra help, you have the right to take proactive steps of requesting additional or different services. If you feel that the proposed IEP does not meet your child's needs, speak up about it and negotiate for change. Be an active voice in IEP meetings and don't hesitate to control the direction of the conversation. Share all of your concerns for your child and family with the IEP team. When it comes to special education, parental involvement is paramount to the success of a child. This is especially true during all aspects of the IEP creation, changes, and anything else related to this vital process. Considering that the IEP process can be initiated by the parent, it's important that you understand their rights and responsibilities in order to ensure that the process is efficient and collaborative. Parents whose children are aged 3 to 21 years and have a disability are entitled to different rights when it comes to IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. These rights are typically referred to as a procedural safeguard and are extended to a child's guardians as long as the student themselves are at least 18 years of age. This is a summary of parental rights under the IDEA. Parents have the right to participate in meetings related to the evaluation, identification, and decisions regarding their child's education. Parents have the right to participate in meetings related to a free, appropriate public education for their child. Parents are entitled to be members of any group that decides whether their child is a child with a disability and can receive special education and related services. And also, parents are entitled to be members of the team that develops, reviews, and revises the IEP. Parents' rights in the IEP process. The parents have the right to participate. They have a right to written notices, the right to consent, the right to access educational records, the right to request a hearing, the right to keep child in the current placement, a right to mediation, and the right to information on disciplinary action. Understanding your family legal rights is part of becoming an informed advocate. You should have been provided with copies of relevant regulations and procedures which protect the rights of families. Also, create a network of support. This might mean having a trusted family, friend, or relative attend IEP meetings with you to provide moral support. There are 3 phases of the IEP conference: reviewing the evaluation and performance level, developing instructional goals and objectives, determining placement and related services. The first one, reviewing the evaluation and performance level, you should avoid educational jargon when reviewing the results of the formal evaluation. Parents should receive a summary of the findings that emphasize the child's strengths, gifts, abilities, and needs. Second one, developing instructional goals and objectives. When developing the students' instructional goals and objectives, it is crucial that parents, advocates, and students share their expectations about the students' future participation in school, the home, and the community. The third one, determining placement and related services. Parents, advocates, and other family members can provide invaluable information to help determine placement options, related services for the student. The placement options selected, such as at home, at the hospital, at a separate building, must allow the student to participate in typical school experiences with typical peers as much as possible. Parents' role. Your first and most important role as a parent on the IEP team is to be present to serve as an advocate for your child with a disability. No one on the IEP team knows your child better than you. School personnel spend at most 6 hours per day with your child, only 181 days per year. You spend 365 days each year with your child, in most cases, and many more than 6 hours per day. You know how your child responds under pressure, how they have learned many things, and how methods that have already worked well might be translated into the current school situation. Quite simply, you know your child from the inside out. while teachers know the child from the outside in. Understand that although educators are trained experts in the educational process, they are not trained as a parent is trained, knowing the innermost parts of the child. That is where you come into the process. Speaking as an expert, you're an expert in understanding how your child thinks, acts, learns, and behaves, and as such, you should feel comfortable speaking up when the IEP team is discussing a technique or procedure that you don't think will work well with your child. You can affirm ideas that you believe will work well. Protect your child's rights. Parts of serving as an advocate is ensuring that the district is protecting your child's rights. Facilitating meaningful participation. At the outset of the meeting, educators should greet the family members and advocate, provide a list of participants, introduce all those in attendance with a brief explanation about the role in the conference, state the purpose of the meeting, make positive observations about the child, emphasize that the parents possess helpful information about the child and that they are partners in this process. A parent's invitation to an IEP meeting typically includes at least 3 notices. Perhaps you could send a notice of the meeting, which should be designed as a letter encouraging parents to participate in the IEP meeting. Follow that with a phone call reminding the parent that that you have sent out an invitation to the meeting, and then a final invitation might be a quick phone call the day before the meeting. The benefits for a parent being involved in the IEP meeting, it means also that they will increase the teacher's understanding of the child's environment. They will, it adds to the parent's knowledge of the child's educational setting. It improves communication between parents and the school. It increases the school understanding of the child. It increases the likelihood that with improved understanding between home and school, mutually agreed upon educational goals will be attained. The parent is an important member of the IEP team and therefore should actively participate in the progress of their child's education and performance. Understanding barriers. When parents are not active in the IEP process, educators may sometimes misinterpret their lack of involvement. They may believe that parents are satisfied with the decisions being made for their child and do not see the need for further participation. They do not have enough information about their child's functioning and the nature of the decisions to be made to allow them to participate. Yet numerous barriers may preclude a parent's active participation in the process. There might be communication problems. Communication problems and lack of understanding of the school system may result from the intricate and sometimes ingrained language used in the IEP. Also, there's the lack of understanding of the school system, lack of knowledge on how to help their child, or feelings of inferiority. There's logistical problems. Parents' participation might be hindered by a lack of transportation or childcare, or as well as scheduling difficulties related to work and other responsibilities. What to do when parents disagree. When team members should recognize that there's always a chance for disagreement. If this happens, everyone involved in the IEP process should keep in mind that the students' interests are the main objective, and regardless of the outcome, school personnel and parents will still have to work together. The best, fastest, and least costly way to solve a conflict is through informal problem solving. If team members are unable to resolve the conflict, an outside person whose selection is agreed upon by all parties can act as an independent facilitator to bring clarity to the problem. This should be someone who can listen attentively and someone everyone trusts. All involved in the process should keep open minds and again try to do what is best for the student. Some situations demand more formal means of resolving differences. The IDEA is clear about the legal rights of state and local education agencies and parents, as well as specific procedures that must be followed when IEP team members disagree. Mediation is a voluntary and confidential process that brings conflicting parties together to obtain a written agreement. If an agreement cannot be reached in mediation with a trained mediator, the more formal due process hearing is in order. Due process hearings are long, tedious procedures that can be extremely costly for everyone involved. They start with a signed complaint and are administered by a qualified and impartial person. The decision made as a result of a due process hearing is final unless school personnel or parents file an appeal to the State Board of Education. Your participation in the IEP process doesn't end when the IEP is signed. Actively collaborate with the professionals who are providing services. They should provide regular progress reports. If they don't, request them. Ask if you could observe therapy sessions so that you can better help your child at home. Ask about activities to do at home with your child that we could improve their cognition, communication, social development, or other areas that they are a challenge. Doing so can help accelerate your child's progress and improve his or her quality of life. Whether you have attended the IEP meetings or attended your very first IEP meeting, as you have learned and understood your role in IEP meetings and how it will impact your child's education is critical.